Moby, it's Kat Corbett from KROQ.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Let's start with the Circle V Music and Arts Festival. It celebrates animal rights. Obviously, you have music and food and all of that. It's going at the Regent Theater in downtown LA on November 18th. It kicks off at 3 p.m. This is an all-ages show. I want to know about the creation of Circle V. How did it start?
Well, it was about 2 years ago. Tony from No Doubt approached me and asked if I wanted to help start an animal rights music festival. Because he'd been talking to Davey Havoc from AFI, because they had just started the band DREAMCAR. And they're both vegans, and I'm a vegan. And so I thought, sure, let's try to start a festival. Because the last time I ran a festival was 15 years ago. I had this weird festival called Area 1 and Area 2, where I toured with everybody from Incubus to David Bowie.
I remember it, yes.
Yeah, so this is my second attempt at trying to start a festival, and we run it as a nonprofit. So any money that comes into the festival goes to an animal rights organization called Mercy for Animals.
So and we'll get to that organization. I think most people do not understand what it takes to put on a festival. So I'm asking you, obviously you're an animal lover, but it's a lot of self-punishment to put a festival together.
Well,
it's a lot of work.
Especially the way we've structured it is no matter how hard we work and how successful it is, Tony and I will never make a penny from this festival.
Right.
Like my fee and his fee, because we're both performing this year, goes directly to Mercy for Animals. So it's a weird form of entrepreneurialism in that we can never make money from it.
And you know what? And Tony's such a great guy, and I know he's been vegan, and of course Davey Havoc as well for years. So when I heard about this festival, I was really intrigued by the kind of layout that you have to this, because you have bands like, I know you have so DreamCar's playing, you're performing. I know you have Reggie Watts on the bill. I know you're going to announce more artists. But you have this long list of speakers, and I'm wondering, because I'm thinking about the Regent, so you have the back lot for tents? Is that how that's happening?
Oh, well, we're closing down the whole block in front of the Regent.
Oh, no way. So like a block party.
Yeah, we're creating this tiny little village. So the main stage will be at the south end of the block, and then there's a huge parking lot across the street, and that's where the food will be, and we have a bunch of different artists set up there. And then the speakers and the films will be actually inside the Regent.
Okay, so these speakers, they're, you have a lot. So they all are, is this like there's like, I don't know, from 3 to 5, we have the speakers. Is that how that's going down?
We have these panels.
Okay.
We did it last year at the Fonda, and honestly, I performed last year, and I think I'm being fair when I say that the speakers went over way better than I did.
I doubt that, but okay. All right, I'll take it.
And so this year, we have everybody from Kat Von D to a bunch of NFL players who are now animal rights people. Mm-hmm. So it covers sports and beauty and ethics and people who make documentary films. But the one thing I do really want to stress is, even though Tony and Davey and I and a bunch of other people, we're vegans, you don't have to be a vegan to come to the festival. If you stop at In-N-Out Burger for a hamburger on the way to the festival, we're not going to publicly shame you.
Well, that's nice.
Everybody's welcome.
And which it was kind of the vibe I got from it, especially just reading a little blurb on the Circle V homepage, which I think is the best way to approach this movement, because I guess I'm mostly vegetarian, I would say that. And I have a lot of friends who are kind of veering into that world, to go down the path to veganism. And, we often discuss what's the barrier. And a lot of times it's laziness, lack of information. I don't think the fast food world has been taken over yet as much as it needs to be by the vegan movement. So it's convenience. So there's all these things that, yes, we can make excuses for, or, we just don't want to hear it. I get it. All that stuff. I'm part of the problem myself. But I was so surprised. I saw the beer tent, and I eat a lot of vegan food. I do. I eat a lot of it. But the beer tent, I didn't know Lagunitas was a vegan beer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sober, so there's this whole world of vegan beer and alcohol and wine, and I know nothing about it. So if you see me in the beer tent drinking, that means things have gone terribly wrong.
No, all right, we won't make you go there. But like, I just drink Lagunitas because I like it, and so when I saw that as one of the beer, the beer tents, I was like, wow, all right, good. I felt so good about that. I will continue my Lagunitas drinking for both of us, Moby. And you have all these restaurants. You have, I know you have free food tastings depending on the level of ticket you get. And I see that your restaurant, Little Pine, will be serving up some food.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to be serving because we have a really small kitchen. And so I'm trying to figure out how do we make enough food for a few thousand people. And also, I mean, the sort of food that people want at a festival, a street festival, is a lot different than what they want if they're sitting down to have like a long fancy dinner.
You have to put it on a stick, Moby. Whatever it is, just
take
put
whatever
it on a stick.
we make and put it on a stick and deep fry it, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
So let's talk about Mercy for Animals, which is the organization that's benefiting from the proceeds, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to give us a little background on that organization, why they're the benefactor?
Yeah, Mercy for Animals has a really interesting story because it was started by this teenager named Nathan Runkle. He's not a teenager anymore. And he grew up on a farm, and when he was young, he decided that he wanted to sort of dedicate his life to helping animals. And so he started this small organization, and they're LA-based now. And honestly, over the last 10 years, they've become this huge sort of powerhouse animal rights organization. But I love the fact that it was just started by this naive, idealistic teenager who grew up on a farm in Ohio.
Right. What a contradiction.
Yeah.
I wonder if his parents were upset with that.
I think they've since made peace with it. Like,
Excellent.
I think at first they were a little, maybe even more embarrassed, because I guess if you live in a small farm town in Ohio and your 15-year-old son is a strict vegan, like there's a lot of explaining to do, but I think they're kind of proud of him now.
I bet they are. That's an amazing backstory. I had no idea. Good on him for that.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about, Circle V and this festival celebrating animal rights, do you have any advice? Like, I guess I was getting to it earlier, how, a lot of people, feel like it's so difficult to kind of make the transition because it's overwhelming and you want what you like. How do you find it in the vegan world? Like someone needs to make a chart, like Big Mac, then you get this, or, here.
Yeah. I mean, the first bit of advice I would give to anyone, because this year is my 30-year vegan anniversary.
Wow,
and
that's awesome.
My advice is don't be too hard on yourself. Like, it's better to do, like, a small good than to do nothing. So even if someone's, like, eats well 50% of the time, like, that's certainly better than eating well 0% of the time. And in a way, and I'm sure you can relate to this, it reminds me a little bit of when people become punk rockers. Like,
yeah.
I grew up in the hardcore punk scene in New York, and, like, you'd have these people with, like, Black Flag tattoos, listening to the Circle Jerks, criticizing everybody who wasn't listening to Black Flag and the Circle Jerks, knowing full well that 6 months ago they were listening to Bon Jovi.
That is a really, really great analogy to draw up, and that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, so, like, no one is born the coolest indie rock or punk rock kid in the world. No one, like, a lot of people who are really judgmental vegans, like, 3 months ago they were at In-N-Out Burger. So I feel like my advice to people is just, like, do the best you can, and don't be too hard on yourself, and recognize that, 6 months from now, a year from now, you'll learn more, you'll know more, and be patient with yourself as the process unfolds. I
think that's the forward. I think that's the way forward with this movement to bring people in. Like, just your attitude is everything. Because I think the like you said, the Judgmental Vegan, which I think is a great band name, by the way. I feel like that is a big turnoff, and people immediately tune it out. And I think the script needs to flip. And the way you're presenting it is really more, I think people will be more willing to kind of go down that road because they would feel, it's really intimidating. It's kind of intimidating that you don't know anything about food, so you feel like a big dummy And so, most people are like, they'd rather flee than kind of dive in and learn everything.
Yeah, and it's almost, or it's like visiting a city for the first time. Like the first time you go to New York or the first time you go to London, you're not expected to know the city inside and out perfectly, when you first get there. So it's just reminding ourselves to be patient. Almost like, I don't want to sound like too much of a hippie, but like be patient with yourself and try to be non-judgmental of others.
Oh, it did sound hippie, but I'll take it. It's okay.
We live in Los Angeles, so we're allowed.
Your old punk rock roots are rolling over right now.
Yeah, they're like,
oh my God.
Like, what about Minor Threat?
Break out salad days. That still works. So Circle V, a music and arts festival celebrating animal rights. It's at the Regent Theater, downtown LA. Outside, you have this big outside space as well as inside. It's all ages. I saw that, which is fantastic. When are you announcing more artists to the lineup?
Hopefully tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
Another thing that I want to mention is this is my only live show of the year.
Ooh.
And the live show I'm doing, it's hopefully songs that people want to hear. Because I'm sure we've all had that experience. Like you go to see a band and they only play music from the new record, or they only play unreleased things. And I'm like, you know what? If I go to see a band, I want to hear the greatest hits. I
like hearing that from you, Moby. So you're going to bust out all the hits at your performance.
Insofar as I have hits, I'm going to play them because that's what I would want to hear if I was in the audience. Will
you do your Mission of Burma cover? That was kind of a hit for you.
If you want me to, yeah, sure. I will try and remind myself how to play it, and then it shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, so
you have plenty. You don't even need to play that.
If I can teach the musicians I play with how to play it, then we will for sure play it.
You do not even. You have enough. You don't even need to play that. I don't know what that just popped into my head as one of the random things, just because the punk rock stuff and Mission of Burma. So, but I love you for saying so. Anyway.
Well, we're going to try and learn it.
All right. So this is going down November 18th, and tickets are on sale now. And we have the link that we have in the blog post for this, and to lead people to that. And perhaps I will see you at the festival, Moby.
I hope so. Yes, yeah. Hopefully I'll see you November 18th.
Also, just a side note, your restaurant Little Pine on Rowena, how many tables are in that place? I haven't been yet.
If it's crowded, there are about 45 people in there.
Okay, that's a good size.
And I also run my restaurant in a weird way, meaning any money that comes into the restaurant goes to animal rights organizations. So, I try to do everything more sort of philanthropically at this point, just because my years of being selfish didn't make me very happy.
Well, that's a really interesting thing to come to in your life, and that you're able to do it. That's an amazing thing. So I don't know. Can I saint you? I'm sainting you over the phone.
Okay, I'll call the Vatican now.
I was just there, actually, last week. I'll send them a note.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the chat, and I really hope it's a big success because I think it's great. And like I said, I was disarmed by your approach to newbies to veganism, and it was a welcome, refreshing attitude, which I think needs to be the new face of the movement.
Well, good. Yeah, because there's no point in shaming people or making them feel bad for doing things that we all do.
Correct. So I think that's the way to bring them all in. So thanks, Moby.
Yeah, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I will. You know what? I'll hold up an actual real lighter, not even my lighter app. I will go old school in front of your stage.
But as we live in Southern California, it's a lighter that's probably used to light sage smudges and incense. Yeah.
You are a hippie. I love it.